Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, lovely, lovely friends, wherever you are. My name is Zsuzsanna Hörcsög. I'm your host, and I'm coming to you live from the UK. And if you know my work, I'm a psychic and a medium, and I love talking about all kind of spiritual and unrealistic and all kind of different things, bringing you readings, bringing you guests, bringing you various spiritual conversations. And today, that pattern is going to continue. So if this is the very first time you are here, thank you very much for joining us. A very, very warm welcome I'm extending to you. And then you can find me here live on the Aspa Radio Network, even on Psychic Radio and Moonstrike TV on Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m. EST, 8:30 p.m. GMT, and 5:30 a.m. somewhere in the Australian times, because we are watching and listening from all over the world. So thank you very much for joining me. Now, you know, my absolute passion and love about bringing friends and inviting us to my show. Now, today, today it is going to continue. Now, if you have watched my shows, you know that I have had about 8 or 10 various people from one specific community, which you heard me talking about and which you heard me calling as a Lysian community, Lysian events and Lysian community. Now, we have watched all those wonderful people talking about so very passionately about their lives and what they are really about or really passionate about. But for today, I think I'm going to bring you a very, very different, a very, very special guest who is actually responsible for all the Lysian events and the Lysian community. And while I'm really eager to talk to him, because if you have watched my shows, my previous shows, when I was talking to you about how spirit consciousness has been encouraging and talking to us about the importance of spiritual communities and how much we need to move from the egoistic, from the ego, from the individual state into a much wider state of awareness. So let's welcome our guest today. So we have Ian Timothy joining from the Lysian event. So let's see, Ian, how are you?
I'm very well indeed, Zsuzsanna. I really am. And I'm so privileged to be with you all today, talking to so many different parts of the world. It's a wonderful privilege. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting my invitation, because I know you are busy. You have been very busy last week and this weekend in New York Showground for one of the events, and then you are preparing for the next one. So we are going to talk about the events as well. So it's very, very special. But you see, before the show, we started talking, and I know quite recently I found out that actually you are a reader. And every time when I have a guest here, my first question is, how did you get into what you are about? And how did you get into or on the spiritual? So what is your story, please?
It's very easy, isn't it, to go down the route of talking about our personal history. But my feeling is at 63 years of age that we actually are a evolution of all the circumstances and the people that we've worked with. And that can be, for most people, hundreds, if not thousands of people over our lifetime. And even the smallest interaction, a conversation in a bus, or a conversation as you're traveling across the ocean, or a conversation with somebody in Africa, just one conversation or one event can absolutely completely transform our life. And I don't really have a particularly wonderful history, apart from the fact that I've been fortunate enough to interact with, for good and for bad, with many, many hundreds of people in my lifetime, and that's taken me to where I am now. And I'm really pleased to be who I am. I do have my faults, as we all do, but I'm happy with where I am, and I'm happy with the place that I'm at. I have deep spiritual beliefs. I question many aspects of the way that people live their lives, but that, of course, is there free will and their choice, and I'm glad that they do live in their way. But for me, I have a strong belief in vibrational energy. I have a strong belief that there is an omnipresence that exists because of us all and because of all of our thoughts. I believe that spiritual healing, Reiki, which is something I adore, can have a tangible effect on the way that we live. And I believe that integrity and honesty, which are two difficult things for us to embellish, are very much important in our lives. Yes, I was a reader for many, many, many years. And I believe that I was reasonably successful in that work. And I stopped doing spiritual counseling, as I like to call it, because I think that I'd given enough. And I think that the time had come for me to move on. And that's why I stopped. So that's my brief synopsis.
It's quite fascinating, and as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing the word I believe, I believe. And then, when my question was, what was that point? And you said, oh, I don't have that point, but then I believe, so I feel it is quite deep, when you realize that, yes, I am a reader and now I would like to do something else, So how did the idea of building a community came along? Because you could have chosen, or you could have stepped onto many other paths here. So community idea.
On a material level, I am a very successful man. On an intellectual level, I have capabilities. On an emotional level, I'm afraid that my emotions can get the better of me. I would use this belief again. I do believe in love. I do believe that we can, if we have love in our hearts, we can overcome any difficulty. I'm not saying that we have a method or a way to be able to forgive everybody for everything. That's a totally different time for a different conversation. But I believe that love is very, very much part of our lives. And if we concentrate on that word and the meaning of that word and its very, very many dimensions, then we can really affect others around us. And I think that you have to demonstrate in one way or another that you are capable of helping people. And that is the fundamental foundation of what myself and my partner Liz do. We have a feeling that if we can connect a group of people together and give them a platform from which they can work from, then they can thrive. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that they will thrive on a financial level. I'm not necessarily saying that they will thrive on an intellectual level, but I am guiding that they will thrive with emotional strength by connectivity and from a spiritual level, because the search, which is something that I think that spiritual ideas is, it is a never ending search for a reason. And sometimes we find certain reasons towards our life, be it maybe our beautiful children, be it maybe a success in a business which helps other people to thrive, which provides for their homes and their heating and provides them to have a decent holiday each year. That is a wonderful thing to do. If people thrive, that can all be involved in spiritual ideas and concepts. And the search for, the looking for, the journey is very important. And to me, this business, it has to be named a business called Lysian Events, is all about connectivity, bringing people together that work in a group. Now, I would not say that they should embellish the word family, because families are totally different to communities. Families argue and sometimes hold grudges, and they can get very, very, very emotional about things. But communities, they will thrive because there's a set of rules that they understand, and they work within the parameters of those rules for mutual success, be that success on the 4 levels, which is, of course, material, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. And when those 4 aspects of our lives work together in unison, then the magic quintessential element of pure love occurs. I'm convinced of it, Zsuzsanna.
It's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And then those of the audience or the viewers who follow for instance, my personal page, Zsuzsanna Maiden, you see me talking or coming live from those places, the Elysian events, and this is what I've been talking about also, the sense of community, how people relate to each other, and then like looking after and looking out for each other as well. So while I was listening to you, I mean, we could go back to different points, but now it just occurred to me, how did it change you? How did it change you, that process, what you stepped into, because you felt that you had that belief, you were coming from your heart center, and then you had that vision to empower other people to grow. What is it? Yes.
The biggest aspect that I would say that I've learned, the lesson that I've learned from it, is disappointment. I've had to learn to take things very slowly. I've had to learn to understand that many people involved in what I do not see the whole picture. I've had to learn to make very difficult choices which have affected people who once considered me a friend, but because the platform, the guiding light of what I do has these precepts which need to be fairly rigorously stuck to. And by sticking to them, I've lost friends. And the lesson that I've learned, an incredible lesson that I've learned, is that if we are to do something in the right way, then we have to fulfill our convictions. And there has been many, many disappointments and very many moments where I've questioned whether the time and effort that I put in and my partner Liz put into building this platform is worth it. But every single time that we do an event and we finish that event and the private emails come through, and excuse me, and every single time that we finish an event and the emails come through from visitors who talk about members of the community and the healing that they've had and the readings that they've had, or even the gifts that they've bought, and particularly the talks that they've been to, every time that we get that end result, then we know that we are building something, and something which, and I'll use the word believe again, I believe is very special indeed. I don't think, and I would invite your audience to look and see if I am wrong, I don't think there is another organisation in the world that follows Elysian Events pattern. You can look on elysianevents.org, which I'm sure we'll be talking about later. But the evidence is that we work tirelessly daily to put out a daily article. We connect up the people who work for us. We share on our social media groups as much as we possibly can about the work that people do, and we continue to do this until it starts to really take hold and make traction. And I believe, and I use that word again, I do have a belief in this, that it is worth all of the sacrifices and it is worth the commitment to build something that hopefully in the future, when I retire, other people with far wider, expansive minds and far more vision will take over and take to a different stage.
Mm-hmm. It's absolutely fascinating. Yeah, and it really made me think, that we always get the opportunities, the circumstances, and the lessons, what we need to what we need to receive. And then, yes, you are creating something out there, but from your personal experience, I hear, what you have learned and what you have gained. That was your own learning. Now, you mentioned what is actually happening in any of the Lysian events. So would you like to say more about that? Because now, we had this weekend, we had an event here in Newark, and the next weekend you are stretching out. So what can a visitor see and really expect when they come to the space what you have created?
Where we are at this moment actually is taken us 2 steps back. Before this world crisis, in November of 2019, before the crisis really took hold, our events were attracting visitor numbers of just short of 1,000 people, and we attracted just short of 110 people who attended as community members at our Lincolnshire event. So we were really taking momentum, and we'd taken 6 years to get to that stage, and we could really feel the momentum of what the community had created really taking hold. And then, of course, we've had the 2 years where everything went on hold. The whole world has been literally into limbo, where it's just been stagnating and floating. And so we were lucky. We changed the dynamic of the event from wellbeing shows to a wellbeing market, and that allowed us to open up the events during, if you like, the tail end of the lockdown. So we ran 2 events, as you know, at the Newark Showground. They were only half the size of anything we'd done before. And of course, there was the difficulty with people who wanted to attend a public event and people who are scared to attend a public event. So we ran these 2 events. So what people will get is they will get a good blend of retail. So people who like difficult to find goods, crystals, esoterical silver jewelry. We've got people who make everything from candles down to beautiful pieces of jewelry, bespoke jewelry. And you'll get people who sell books, so people who sell incense, hand-blended incense, oils. So retail aspect is very well covered. There is a very healthy degree of healers and therapists, and which is something very close to my heart. And we encourage people to come along and work with their Reiki or with their reflexology. We have 2 incredible reflexologists, well known across the UK, and they work exceptionally well together. There's no animosity no competition between anybody who works on our floor. We also have a lovely lady who does something called crystal healing, which is crystal skulls used in a healing purpose. Very fascinating. She's a melody trained crystal practitioner as well. We have everybody from very, very strange people with very strange ideas to other people who are absolutely fantastic, sound baths, sound gongs, meditational. We have a lady called Jill Moore. She's a traditional spiritual healer going right back to the late 60s. She's a fantastic lady, very, very interesting, very powerful healer. And of course, as you know, we've got lots of information. We're encouraging people such as the Woodland Trust to talk about their work. We're very keen to get more ecologists on board. We're very keen to get more people who are really have feelings for the environment involved as part of the spiritual message, which of course it is. And of course we have an extensive talk schedule, and some of the finest talks I believe in the UK circuit. We have recently started to stream the talks, and they've become exceptionally popular. So we've got a really good foundation for the future, and I believe that we will increase back to our figures again, where there are at least 100 people as community members standing, and we will get back up to the 4-figure sums on every event. You see, there is always this marker where the more there is to see, the more people will be attracted to it. But I will say that the last event, which was last weekend at the Newark Showground, we were a little bit unsure about, because indeed to have done what we did, which was to have 3 events at the same venue in a 5-month period, was pushing it a little bit. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But you were there. The vibes, and the energy and the feelings that people got was fantastic. And again, we've had incredible email feedback from visitors. Staffordshire, the event that comes this coming weekend, new venue, absolutely beautiful building. The venue itself is spectacular, and it's something that we really want to get moving. And to give you the viewers an idea of our ethos, because we are not materially profit focused. That is not to say that we don't run a business which is profitable, has to be for reinvestment purposes. But for this one, to get it off the ground, we've actually given out 15,000 free tickets in the area. So if we get a 10% uptake on that, I think the people who are there are going to enjoy themselves. And that is very much part of our ethos, where we reinvest profits back into the community in every way, shape or form.
Absolutely beautiful. And I know a lot of us are looking forward to being there in Stafford, and it's really very positioned. So it's quite a venue. It's going to be quite fascinating, actually. Now, just a point before we move forward. I love the way how you are calling, or how the members in the community are called community members, because they're people who go into different events, and then you are called a stall holder, or you could have different labels. But this is actually what I felt immediately when I stepped into this community, I think 2 years ago. First as a visitor myself, and then I put my work out there as well, and that fascinating energy. And then you see, I think what you are creating online, your talks, and then all the shares, really makes that community even stronger. Because when we all go home after an event, but because people live all over the places. But then when we are coming back, then there is already that relatedness, what was created through your lives, your life conversations. So those people, those friends who are listening in different continents, in America, Canada, Australia, or different parts of the world, can you just give us, Ian, a link where people can find you, your live conversations?
I can. It's as simple as this. If you go onto any search engine and put Lizian Events, Lizian, Liz and Ian, Lizian Events, and then .org, lizianevents.org, you'll crash into our website. And on the website, there's a little dot on the top right-hand side, and it says live. You click onto live. There's a link then to all of the streams that we've ever recorded. You can go onto that. And also, if you're on that particular page, go to the magnifying glass, and you will be able to search anything from tarot to spiritual healing to Reiki, and you will be able to access any one of the 1,750 articles that are on there. You can even put in Zsuzsanna's name, and she'll come up with the information. I'm very conscious that this time has run away with us at this moment, but the message that I'd like to give to anybody who's watching this is community works, and community works if there is mutual agreement to disagreement. Mutual agreement to disagreement, which means that I might have crazy ideas, except that I do. Zsuzsanna might have some crazy ideas, and I adore her and love her for it. I don't have to agree with anything, but I do have to agree to allow all of us crazy people on a spiritual level for us to continue to explore our spiritual journey. Well, too many people in this world are lost. They spend, they spend fortunes on trinkets which don't give them any return, but you stick to your spiritual value, pray to your universal creator, pray to the energy or whatever it is, or help and pray and love those around you. And I tell you something, make no mistake about it, you'll live happily, healthily, and with the wealth, the special wealth, which encompasses everything in our lives.
Brilliant, wonderful, wonderful. I tell you what, I'm just so grateful that we could have this conversation. So thank you very much again for accepting my invitation. And
God bless you all.
Love to you, and then to Liz as well. So thank you very much again.
Thank you all for watching.
Serious effort. And then for the rest of the audience, thank you very much for joining me. This is our show, Zsuzsanna Medium. I was your host, Zsuzsanna Hörcsög, a medium from the UK. And you can find all my information on my website, zsuzannamedium.com. Social media is the same, Zsuzsanna Medium. And it's always 9 letters, ZSUZSENNA. We are sending you lots of love, many, many blessings. And see you next week. Thank you very much. I'm grateful. Thank you.